Today I'm going to be showing you how I make my cheeky crisscross tie bottoms. So if you're interested in learning how to make these bottoms, then just stay tuned. So first we'll go over the materials that we need to make these bottoms. So the first thing that you'll need is a pattern, and I have my pattern listed in the description below if you want to follow along exactly. So before we go over the rest of the materials, I just wanted to mention that for this particular bottom, I included two different front coverages. I have a minimal coverage, which dips down a little bit more, and then I have a regular coverage which comes up a little bit more and it's a little bit thicker. It's completely up to you, it's based on your preference, but here is where you would choose which one you would like to use, and today I'll be using the regular. Alright, so now we can go over the rest of the materials that we need to make these bottoms. First we have our serger, elastic application serger foot. I like to use clear elastic when I make my bikinis. Acrylic ruler, seam ripper, fabric weights, pins if you need them, rotary cutter, a matching polyester or woolly nylon thread, and I'm using two different swim fabrics today because I'm going to be making this bottom reversible. And also at the end you will need to sew your swimsuit hole shut, and you could either use a hand sewing needle or a sewing machine for that. It's completely up to you. You'll also need a loop turner and a sewing machine. Since I am making these bottoms reversible, I just need to decide which color I want the straps to be, and I'm going to choose this solid color blue for the straps. Since I am making a small, the straps will need to be 33 inches long by 1 1/4 inch wide, and I'll need 2 of those straps. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out those straps now. So here's my 2 straps at 33 inches long by 1 1/4 inch wide. And next we need to cut out our bottom pieces. We're going to cut out 2 front pieces and 2 back pieces, but since we're making this bottom reversible, I'm going to cut out 1 front and 1 back of each fabric. So 1 front and 1 back of the solid blue, and 1 front and 1 back of the plaid print. And I'm going to go ahead and get started on that now. So here we have all of our pattern pieces cut out for our bottoms. As you can see, we have the 2 front pieces, the 2 back pieces, and our 2 straps that are 33 inches long. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to connect our fronts to our backs. So the way that we'll do that is make sure right sides are facing and align it at the crotch. And we're going to do the same thing for this one. Make sure right sides are facing and align it at the crotch, and then we're just going to serge with no elastic attached here. So this is what your bottom pieces should look like once you've serged the crotch area here. Next thing that you're going to do is you're going to open up the back pieces and then face them right sides together. And then we're just going to serge these 2 areas right here, these 2 sides, with no elastic attached. So we're just going to do that really quickly. So this is what your bottom piece should look like right now. As you can see, we serged these 2 edges here, and now we're just going to add elastic to the serger, and we're going to serge all of the other edges. So we're going to serge here, here, and here. And I'm going to get started on that now. And so now we just need to serge our straps, and we're just going to fold the strap in half with right sides facing, aligning it at the edge, and then we're just going to serge along this side with elastic attached, and we're going to do that for both of our straps. Once we have finished serging our straps, we're just going to use the loop turner to turn it right side out. So this is what the bottom should look like after you finish serging all of the edges with elastic attached. And next we're just going to cut our holes for the straps. So we're going to cut all 4 of these corners right here. But you want to make sure whenever you cut it that you cut it as close as possible, because sometimes the hole will stretch. And so this is what it should look like when you're done. You see that it's just the corners that are cut off just a little bit. And once we finish that, we can go ahead and get our seam ripper and use it to create a hole in the seam. You could either do it in the back, but I'm going to be doing it in the crotch area. anywhere that's not super noticeable. And so I just finished creating the hole in the seam, and now we're going to go back to the corners that we just cut, and we're going to go right on the bottom edge of this serge stitch here, and we're just going to straight stitch back and forth a few times. Make sure it catches the end. Do that to all of these corners here. So there should be 2 for each corner, and I do that just to make sure that the hole doesn't get any bigger than it already is. And so this is what that will look like. You could see I just straight stitched a few times back and forth, making sure to catch the end. And next we're just going to cut off these corners here. And then we're going to use our loop turner to add the straps that we made earlier. So just go in through the hole with the loop turner and bring it out through the hole, and hook the strap on, and then pull it through about a 1/4 inch. And then we're just going to sew back and forth. So we're going to back stitch a few times right here, about a 1/4 of an inch. And we're going to do the same for the other side. And this is what that should look like. As you can see, I just sewed it a few times back and forth, and now we're just going to cut off the excess. And then we can turn our piece right side out with the hole that we made in the seam earlier. And make sure that you push these corners out as much as you can, because the hole is right at the corner. So next we're going to sew a 1/4 inch tunnel. So we're just going to sew a 1/4 inch from this edge here, making sure to backstitch in the beginning and the end. I'm using a zipper foot so I can get close to the edge here. And so I'm gonna go ahead and do that now, and I'll do that for both of these sides here. And so this is what the 1/4 inch tunnel should look like. And next we're just going to fold our bikini bottoms in half with the front facing upwards. And then we're just going to use our loop turner to pull these straps in. And we're gonna pull them in from the outside to the inside. So I'll start with my loop turner on the inside and just find the hole that you created. And then hook your strap onto the loop turner and pull it through. And then we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. And then we're just going to tie the ends of our strap in a knot and cut off the excess. And at this point, you're basically almost finished. You just need to go back in and sew this hole that you created earlier in the seam shut. And you could either do that by hand sewing it closed, or you can stitch directly on top of it. It's completely up to you. And once you finish that, you're completely done with these bottoms. And if you have any questions, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I will see you later.